Welcome back, Strategic Angling fans. My name is Brady Hanna, and this is another episode of Strategic Angling. I believe this is episode 7. This episode is brought to you by K&K Hardware in Bendorf, Iowa. I wanted to take some time out to tell you guys about what is going on at Lost Grove in July. Full summer is here. The water is hot. The fish are still biting, but they're a little trickier to catch right now, especially those big ones. So I know it's been a while since we last posted, but I wanted to, let you guys know what's gone on in the last month or so since we made a video. You last saw JJ and I talking about what we were doing in June. Well, I want to do a similar video, but more focused on Lost Grove and the month of July. So, not to toot my own horn, but Justin, my partner, and I, we have won the last 2 Lost Grove leagues, and we believe we've got something figured out about what these fish are doing this time of year. We've been fortunate enough to catch some bigger fish, and last night we caught 2 really big fish, and I'm going to tell you exactly how we did it, what bait we did it on, and how you can do it if you've got the patience to do it. So there's kind of two main things going on at the lake right now, and the first one I want to tell you about is the thermocline. So I'm not a scientist, but I've been understood that the thermocline is where a lake is going to turn over at some point, and there's a really distinct line if you look on your electronics, about 10 feet down, 9-10 feet down right now, where below that thermocline is kind of a dead zone. There's not very much oxygen down there for these fish to live in. So I'm seeing, and this is just my opinion, I'm seeing most fish above the thermocline. So knowing that most fish are going to be above 10 feet of water is incredibly valuable, and it makes the lake fish a lot smaller. So this thermocline has led to a lot of fish push back to the bank. You can catch quite a few fish, just going down weed lines right now, fishing right off the shallow rock there that they've put all the way around the lake, and you can have a good day and you can catch a lot of fish using a number of techniques which we've definitely talked about. That's not going to be the focus of this episode. I want to tell you guys about what we're doing to catch the bigger fish, the winning fish that have won us Lost Grove League the last 2 weeks, and those fish have come out in that standing timber. So yes, even though that timber is in some spots 40, 50, 30, 40, 50 feet deep, those fish are no more than 10 feet down. So once we understood this, it kind of helped us pattern what was going on. So I would say Justin and I for the last 2 weeks have been catching primarily all of our fish on big, full-size flipping jigs in different trees. So and these fish have been eating it on the fall because of this thermocline. They're pretty high in the water column. So if you're fishing standing timber, it's not super easy to bring it up over things or fish brush piles. We're basically making lots and lots and lots and lots of flips, and it's not something that's catching us a lot of fish, but it is producing a bigger bite. 2 weeks ago, league was won 3 fish. We do length 51.75 inches. So we caught like an 18-incher, 17-incher, and a 16-something. So it was a good average. It barely got us the win. And we were doing this then too. We only got maybe 6 bites a night, but something like a hack attack, flipping jig, somewhere between 1 ounce and 1/2 ounce, with braided line and a full-size craw, beaver, whatever kind of trailer we want to use, has been what we've been using. And we're using, like I said, heavy braid, heavy big rods, because we're flipping these jigs over and over again in tight to the trees. And with not much cloud cover, those fish really pull up tight to those trees when it's sunny, especially. So let's talk about what kind of jig you use, because I've heard a lot of people say, I just get snagged all the time. And if you're not using the right jig and the right equipment, you're going to get snagged a lot. You really need that sensitivity to feel exactly what's going on with this jig. So this is very similar to a Strike King hack attack flipping jig. It's a 30-degree line tie with a more stout weed guard. This is not a hack attack we've been using. It's a custom one, of course. We've bought from a guy locally, but a little tip for the hack attack to make that weed guard even stiffer is to put a little bit of super glue down at the base. It'll really stiffen that weed guard up, because since we're using big heavy rods and braided line, you want to be coming through the tree or coming down through branches and not worrying about snags. If you have the right jig and the right equipment, you really should not be snagging a whole lot doing this. So last night we had the same game plan. We're gonna go flip a billion times into these treetops, and we're gonna hope we get some good bites. And I'll flash a picture of the couple of good bites that we got. That was very fortunate. We had our best league. Justin and I have been doing this league for 4 years. We had our best. I think that was our best finish ever. So the fishing is tough. The water temps have been over 80 degrees. Top water out in those trees is kind of shut off a little bit. So we've had to get a little crafty with trying to catch these fish. And I'm going to roll some clips now and maybe talk over them while we're doing this. But basically, you're getting 10 to 20 feet away from these trees. You would be surprised how close these fish will still bite when your boat's that close. You don't need to be very far. This is not a cast. This is a short little pitch and flip into the treetops at Lost Grove. So, you're going to see in these clips, we're close to the trees. We're flipping as tight to that cover as we can, and we're just letting it free spool down. And the key here is figuring out on any given day how the fish want it. We kind of knew it was supposed to be on the fall, but we didn't know what weight to use, colors to try. That's still stuff you got to figure out. But I can pretty much guarantee you, if you're struggling to catch a bigger fish right now at Lost Grove, if you commit yourself to a day or your entire time out there to doing this in the trees, you're going to start to see a bigger quality bite. You're not catching those little 10 to 12 inch dinks. You're going to catch a 16, a 17 inch fish, and maybe if you get really fortunate, you'll catch a 19 or 20 or 21 incher, because those fish are living out in those trees where there's a lot less pressure and a lot more room for them to hide. As the lake has matured and got older, there's a lot of pressure on that bank, so these big fish are getting smart to that, and they're not hanging out on the bank this time of year, most of them, I would say. So, you can go shallow, you can have a great time, you can catch fish, perfect. But, if you want to go out and you want to try and catch multiple good fish, this technique at Lost Grove with a big full-size jig, I'll try to put it close to the camera here. This is probably a 5-inch or almost 6-inch profile we're flipping. That helps too. It's a bigger bait. It's going to get a bigger bite. For example, last night at Lost Grove League, we got 3 bites. It was a 1725, a 1950, and that 5-pound 20.25 inch we showed a picture of. 3 bites, 3.5 hours, we got 3 bites, but all 3 were quality fish. They were winning fish, and this is something that's going to carry probably through this month and definitely August, I'm guessing. Now, the thermocline may not stay where it's at, but this pattern I'm talking about of these trees, this is going to stay relevant probably till the water temps start coming back down and more bigger fish are starting to maybe consider going back to the bank. Again, it's not going to be many. The bank thing is for the big ones is probably mostly done for this year, because the spawn's over with. So, I'm rambling. This is like roughly a 10-minute video, but I'm telling you this works. It's proven. We've been doing it. We've won the last 2 leagues. For example, the rod I'm throwing this on, there's 2 rods I've been using. One is a 7.4 heavy paired with 50 or 65 pound braid. This is a 150 size reel, and the other one I've been using is a 7'6" extra heavy, and that one I'm using when I'm throwing that ounce jig really into the trees and I need my heaviest rod to pull that thing out of there. And again, we're just free spooling it and you're just letting it fall about 10 feet. If you don't get a bite, reel it in and do it again. If you put the time in on that technique, it's going to pay off for you. But it may not be a banner day with numbers, but in the tough month of July with the water temps pushing 90 degrees, this gives you your best chance to go out to Lost Grove and catch yourself a big fish. So I recommend you give it a try. Let me know if it works for you. I'll probably make a similar video in August. I hope you enjoyed the videos and the pictures. And this has been another episode of Strategic Angling presented by K&K Hardware. Thanks for watching.